let's talk about the Sturddlefish. And yes, you heard me right, I said it right, that is the word. So back in 2019, there was a group of scientists that were doing some research on endangered fish species, specifically two endangered fish species, the Russian sturgeon and the American paddlefish. So, since these two species are endangered, the research was concerning asexual reproduction and captive breeding to see if these fish could, 1, be bred successfully in captivity and later released into the wild, and 2, do some research about gynogenesis, a form of asexual reproduction, to see if that's a viable method of captive breeding. However, these scientists accidentally made an oopsie. That oopsie is the Sturddlefish, an accidental hybrid between the American paddlefish and the Russian sturgeon. Now, as you might be aware, the American paddlefish and the Russian sturgeon are two very different species, and normally species cannot interbreed. However, this is obviously not the case of the Sturddlefish. So what happens is occasionally animals from different species can interbreed, and that results in some pretty interesting offspring such as mules, zonkies, ligers, etc., etc. Now, normally when two different species interbreed, they either can't produce any viable offspring, so the gametes, embryos, whatever, they're just not viable, they don't work, or if they do produce offspring, those offspring are usually either really sick and weak, or they are fully sterile and infertile and can't reproduce on their own, so they're kind of just a dead end. Now, obviously, at least some of the embryos produced by this hybridization were successful because we do have the Sturddlefish. So I am assuming it is the second case where these Sturddlefish are infertile. However, I couldn't find anything online about that, but the Wikipedia page did say that there's no further plans on creating more Sturddlefish intentionally, so I'm assuming that means they can't reproduce on their own. Now, like I said, this was a bit of an oopsie, so they are not creating more Sturddlefish. Unfortunately, that is the plan, but we do know that these species are capable of interbreeding, which is very interesting. All of the remaining Sturddlefish are kept in captivity right now. There's also no plan to release them into the wild because nobody knows what that would do on the ecosystem or even where to release them because they're two very geographically different species. So, for now, just have fun with the knowledge that scientists accidentally created an entire new fish species. Love that we can do that.